YouTube, Stacking Cash. It is an extension of Unnecessary Roughness. Hello, Roughnecks. We got 4 of the best or maybe worst gamblers, certainly the best-looking gamblers at Barstool Sports, starting with Big Ev over there looking like a fucking snack. We got the beautiful and sexy Ben Mintz to my left. The always married Brandon Walker is right here. And, of course, the I think they call him the Pussy Crusher, Jack Mack.
Yes, that's what they call
Pussy
me.
Patrol.
Yep. Pussy Patrol member.
Captain
Yes,
of the
big time.
Fordham Pussy
Leader.
Patrol. Last week we started, and I believe if my math is correct, the show went dead even.
Yep.
2 of us went 3-2. 2 of us went 2-3. Therefore, what is that? 20-20.
10-10.
10-10. Thank you very much. 10-10. Yes, 10-10. So right down the middle. But we got our feet wet, and these are our 5 best picks. So on Stacking Cash, every member of this panel brings his 5 best gambling picks for the college football weekend. And we start it right now. And since I went 3-2, Jack went 3-2, these 2 fellas went 2-3, we'll start. We'll do that every week. We won't do it cumulatively, but whoever has the best record of the week previously will have the tee box.
Kind of like golfing.
I literally used a golf term. I said tee box. It's just like golfing. Good Lord. Speaking of Ryder Cup, huh? Well,
Yeah.
That thing's great. Awesome. I don't care about the Ryder Cup.
Yep, me either.
All right. So college football is here, and I will lead us off. Jack, do you want to play rock, paper, scissors? See who leads us off? No,
you got the mic.
Yeah, I'm Brandon Walker. You also have a mic. What am I going to start with? I am going to start with the Kentucky Wildcats in the state of South Carolina. They are on the road. A lot of people like South Carolina. I know South Carolina has Luke Doty back. They're a bad football team. They are a bad football team. They have a new coach, and I think Kentucky's a good football team. And Kentucky, with a subpar performance last week, 28-23 winners over somebody bad, wasn't good.
Chattanooga.
I think that's kept the number down a little bit. Kentucky's a better team than South Carolina. I think they go in and roll. Pick number 1 on Stacking Cash this week is Kentucky -5 against South Carolina. Jack.
I think we are overrating a team in the SEC, and they go by the name of the Arkansas Razorbacks. I think Texas had one of their worst games they'll probably ever have. Hopefully for
Jack,
Texas.
this is my favorite pick of the week.
Oh, okay. Well,
Got to lead off with your favorite.
I should have. That's
so
my
is
fault.
this, are we,
It's-
for the
is
record,
it one and off the board? Is that what we're going to do?
That's what I was asking. That's the question I'm
I
asking.
think
wanna
we can
do?
share picks. 'Cause we get 25 picks. There's 20 games.
No, I think it should be like a draft.
Like a draft. Okay.
That's how I feel.
all right.
I guess that's my vote. I don't.
All
whatever
right.
everyone
You want
wants
to do it like a, I
All
mean,
right,
I
so-
don't.
so-
So that's established.
This pick's off the board.
Because A&M was a pick that I liked. I will not take it.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's good for the show. It's just it changes your prep, like
Yep.
for when you announce your
I
picks.
brought 9. Yeah.
Okay.
I did too. I
I brought
10.
8. I brought 8.
All right, go.
I think Texas
My
A&M.
favorite fucking pick of the week.
Yep. Goes in to Jerry World. This is a neutral site game, which, by the way, kind of sucks, but I get it. They signed a contract, whatever. Texas A&M goes in. I think they win by 10 to 14 points. We're underrating Texas A&M. Arkansas has a lot of momentum, but I'm not sure they're at the level of A&M yet. I think A&M takes it 7 to 10 points. I'm taking Texas A&M -5. I would take it anywhere up to under 7 points, to be completely honest.
My take is that Arkansas beat an overrated Texas team and
Yep.
immediately took their place as an overrated team.
Yep.
Immediately.
I think they're a good team, but they're not. I think Texas A&M it's a different level of players we're going to see on the field.
My only thing I want to add on that is A&M's way tougher at the line of scrimmage than Texas. I mean, Arkansas murdered them on the offensive and defensive line, and A&M's tough up front.
All right. I don't know how to determine which one of y'all goes first. I have a number in my head between 1 and 15. What is it?
7.
8.
I thought that too.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, this isn't prices right.
That's
Okay. 9 then.
No, it was 8, but it was 8. You get to go first, but you just took one number off. That wasn't competition. All right, Ben Mintz is up next.
All right. Well, okay. I have a system. I've been riding this system forever. I'm not a huge. This is the only one I follow, and it's when a team loses outright as a road favorite and they're home underdog the next week. I just take them blind. That same system also hits on a team that's an excellent underdog and struggles as a favorite. It's also a game where they've got the edge at the line of scrimmage with the defensive line, and they also have an amazing home field advantage, ringing cowbells. I'm taking Mississippi State +2.5 at home against LSU. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I lose this pick.
Why the fuck would you lead off with Mississippi State?
Because I'm beating them ahead of you because it's draft. I knew you.
I didn't know it was a draft when I went. That's not fair.
That's why we clarified
That's
it.
not fair. I didn't know it was a draft.
That's why I asked
You
again.
want to then get rid of the
it's
draft?
not
it's a
fair.
draft
You
now.
want to
It's
start
too
the
late.
draft next week?
No, it's a draft. It's too late.
Okay, it's too
We
late.
agreed on it.
I always take the home dog off the road favorite
My
loss,
top
though.
3 picks are off the board.
I mean,
I'm looking at them right now.
I've checked off a couple picks myself.
But
Two.
lose on the road is a road favorite. They were 3.5 last week. They're catching 2.5 at home. Leach teams are awesome underdogs and bad favorites. I think State's D-line is going to tear up their O-line.
This ain't right.
LSU 11 a.m. struggles. I mean, I think State's going to beat them. I hope I'm wrong. That's my first pick.
Big F.
What number did you say?
Mississippi
2.5.
State plus 2.5.
2.5.
Sketchiest line in the game is road favorite minus 2.5. I could write a freaking thesis paper on it.
Big F.
This is a football team that's more than a touchdown dog this week that's going to win outright. I'm taking the points. It's 8. Western Kentucky. Plus 8 at home against Indiana. This is a team, they throw the ball all over the place. Michael Penix stinks. I don't know what more you have to see from him. He is a bad quarterback, and this is a team where Western Kentucky can be down big in this game. They're never going to be out of this game the way they throw the ball. Bailey Zapp is a very good quarterback. I'm going to trust in him. This system they brought over from Houston Baptist, I believe, was correct. That was where everybody came from. I like Western Kentucky plus 8. I genuinely think they can win this game. I will be taking them on the money line plus 240 as well. But for the sake of the show, I'm taking the 8 points.
All right, let me grab one of these before you vultures swipe in and get it. There's a team. You talk about Arkansas being overrated. There are a couple teams in one state that are getting too comfortable with the smell of their own farts. And I'm going to go after one of them because as impressive as Michigan State has been relative to expectations, I think Nebraska is sitting there and is better than you think. I think that opening week loss to Illinois is coloring our thoughts about them too much. And when they played Oklahoma within 7 points, everybody's reaction was, oh, Oklahoma's bad. Maybe Nebraska's pretty good. Nebraska's 2 games in between Illinois and Oklahoma weren't bad either. They beat the shit out of Buffalo and beat the shit out of somebody else. Plus 5, Y is a team that went on the road to Northwestern, who's not good, and then Miami, who's okay, and beat the hell out of those teams. Why are they only 5-point favorites at home? Because Nebraska's pretty good. Nebraska plus 5 against Michigan State, pick number 2.
There you go. You took one from me. Not actually, but, you know.
It was on your list.
It was on my
list. 8 or
list.
9. Yeah.
All right, my second pick, I'm going with the team that played Western Kentucky and beat them, but it was a close game, and it was a game where Western Kentucky was down big but came back thanks to that passing attack, so they'll never be out of that game, whichever is on. I am on Army minus 8.5. I think Miami and Ohio is an okay MAC team, but they do not have the defensive line to even considerably stop Army's triple option. I think the triple option has a successful day and wins by 10 to 14 points. Give me Army minus 8.5 against the Miami of Ohio.
This is a big underdog week. Last week I got burned being a sucker, as Brandon properly pointed out, when I took all those big favorites. This week, going the other way, we got a rivalry game here. I like SMU plus 9 against TCU. This game every year goes to the wire. And SMU was in a look-at spot last week, got away with murder on a Hail Mary to beat Louisiana Tech. I like Mordecai, their quarterback, the Oklahoma transfer. TCU struggles as a favorite. I think this game goes to the wire. Could go either way. Give me SMU in the 9 rivalry game.
I can't believe you took Mississippi State with your first pick. I cannot believe
Honestly,
you took.
I was going to do it.
Were you?
Yes.
Well, I'll feel a little better.
It almost feels that game almost feels too easy.
Okay, all right.
They're just a better team in my opinion.
Big F.
My next pick is honestly, the spread is much different, but a similar spot to Nebraska. They had a really tough opening primetime standalone game that everyone jumped off the train. I've been back on them since then. I think they blow this team out. I like North Carolina minus 12.5 on the road at Georgia Tech. I think people are going to be drinking a little Georgia Tech Kool-Aid. They gave a really good game to Clemson last week. I don't think they're that good of a team. I think they're improved, but I think UNC is much better than people are giving them the credit for. Sam Howell was still one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the country. I think they go into Georgia Tech in Atlanta and roll. I like North Carolina minus 12.5.
We just buried North Carolina immediately for no reason.
I'm telling you, it's these standalone primetime games. People are so quick to just the one bad game, one bad performance, and just act like the season's over.
Yeah.
They just are terrible. This is a good football team. They're going to win big in this game. Sam Howell is a great quarterback. I love North Carolina.
Speaking of those standalone primetime games, on Friday nights they can be real tricky. And I think it got real tricky for UCF last week when they went to Louisville, who's not a very good team, and they lost. Well, now Louisville has to come off the emotion of that win and they have to come off the momentum of that win, and they got to go to Florida State, a team who is a desperate dog chained up and just dying to get off. Florida State is 0-3. 0-4 doesn't fly in Tallahassee. Hell, 0-3 doesn't fly in Tallahassee. But this is going to be a team that is pissed off, that is flying all over the field, and when Florida State beats Louisville, I will cash my Florida State money line over a Louisville pick this week.
This is a game, let me ask, if they lose this game, you think Norvell gets fired like post-game?
I don't know if he gets fired post-game. I do think his seat goes from he's okay because he's new to hot, and you got to turn it around. Like the firing process starts to begin behind the scenes.
Like this is year 3, correct?
It's year 2.
Is it only year 2?
No, it's 3, but there's
3.
a COVID.
It is year 2, isn't it?
No,
I
I
thought
think
it,
it's year
I thought
3.
it was 3.
No, it's 2 because the same. Him and Lane got hired same year because Ole Miss wanted Norvell.
Okay,
Ole Miss
for
wanted
some reason I thought it
Norvell,
was
and
3.
Florida State outbid
Okay,
him.
It's
so,
hard. COVID makes it impossible to determine years. I thought it was 3
I don't know.
too.
I thought. Okay, so fair. So that changes my opinion on him getting. I think if there's year 3 and they start 0-4, he gets fired right away. But
They have a right.
year 2 changes.
They have a top 10 rated recruiting class for next year. Who knows if they can hold it together? I think that he's really selling that to the fan base right
if
now.
you think about it, like Fuente came from Memphis, right? And he's
Yes.
almost getting fired. He hasn't been at Virginia Tech long. Well, Norvell went in to Memphis after Fuente.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
like, all right, I don't know who is
Jack.
it you?
It's
me.
Jack
Okay.
next.
All right, so it's money line, not plus the points, right?
I like money line
Okay.
Florida State.
I am going to go with a team that Brandon isn't sold on. You know that if you listen on us very often. If you don't, please listen each and every Wednesday and after the games on Saturday nights, Sunday mornings. Michigan is going to whoop Rutgers this weekend. I think there's this weird thing about Rutgers, like it's almost, maybe it's just because I'm in this office and we have Rutgers alums, we have the Shiano Man song, and I think Greg Shiano's doing a great job over there really turning the program around, but they're not ready for Michigan this weekend. They have 2 starters out because of a paintball misdemeanor or something, and I think Michigan takes it to them. I think Michigan's a very good team. I'm not 100% sold they're better than Ohio State. That'll be for later, and we'll see how good Michigan is. But this weekend will be another one of those games that we look back on like, oh, my God, the Michigan hype train is getting out of control, and we usually know what happens when that happens. So I'll throw it over to – oh, well, I guess it's Mintzy now.
Yeah,
but I was going to throw it to Av because he knows about the Michigan hype train. But Michigan minus 19 against Rutgers.
No, I agree. I don't necessarily agree with you on the pick, but I'm someone who, if they go and beat Rutgers by 30, I'll be like, okay, they might be as good as maybe some people think. But I think this is a prove-it game for them because last year Rutgers hang with them real tough. I think they go into this game there, even though Michigan's look good. Shiano, Rutgers, they don't come into this game afraid.
That is true.
Mellon being out is tough. That's pretty much their best offensive weapon. So that does scare me a little bit because they're already like not exactly just laced with offensive weapons to start with. So
and I think
that does scare me a little bit.
And I think Michigan has a very good defense this year, probably their best in a while. So we'll see. But it is a test. I think it's not an ultimate test, but it is a wait a second. If you can't beat Rutgers by 3 scores, maybe you're the same old Michigan.
All right, Ben Mintz.
Next up, keeping the underdog train rolling. This is the biggest home game for this school in a long, long time. And I'm talking about the North Carolina State Wolfpack catching 9.5 at Carter Finley Stadium against Clemson. Clemson has not been this vulnerable in a minute. I mean, scored 14 against Georgia Tech. You're catching 9.5. People are sleeping on NC State because they had a really rough showing in Starkville, but that's a tough place to play on the road. SEC Saturday night got away from them. This is going to be a lower scoring game. 9.5's a lot. I think it goes to the wire, and NC State may pull this off. Give me the 9.5.
Big F. You have to check
Stanford.
the book a little bit? Oh.
Stanford is the play.
That's
We're fading UCLA. They're not as good as we thought they were. Stanford is a tough physical football team. I think this is a game where I think they're going to be able to stop the run, and I think if you can stop UCLA's run game, I don't think they know what the fuck to do. DTR is a decent quarterback. He's very athletic, not the most consistent throwing the football. I just think this is a bad matchup for UCLA. Just at the line of scrimmage, both sides of the ball. I like Stanford catching 4.5. I just think this is a classic David Shaw game that they come out and win it outright, but I'll take the points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost out of picks here. Yeah, I got 3 picks for 2 spots.
I felt like I had to. There was other ones.
You're right.
I literally. It's at the point where we're doing like it's the snake draft thing where I'm looking at my picks and I'm looking at picks that I don't think people will take.
Strategizing, yeah.
And I'm literally taking Stanford now because I knew someone would want them.
Yeah, and I'd also like to point out I did not know it was a draft when we sat down. And we didn't change it to a draft until after I gave my first pick. Anyway, just saying.
You're the one who made it a draft.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Y'all just pounced on me, and everybody else got a first-round pick. I didn't really get a first-round pick, but that's okay. I got 3 picks for 2 spots here. 3 picks for 2 spots. All right. I'm going to fade a team that is fake, that is phony, that is walking around their southern city thinking that they did something. They're walking around thinking, oh, wow, we beat an SEC team. Well, no, the fuck you didn't, and you know that you didn't. There's nobody in the world that thinks you beat Mississippi State last week. The officials beat Mississippi State. Mississippi State outgained you 480 to 230, 26 first downs to 11 first downs, dominated your ass in every way. And guess what? This week, SEC officials, incompetent SEC officials can't protect you because UTSA is walking into Memphis. UTSA is a good football team. They went to Illinois, beat Illinois, and hey, Memphis, Illinois is better than you. UTSA is beating Memphis. UTSA money line against the Memphis Tigers this week. Bang.
All right, Mr. Mintz, I am fading your pick, not because you picked them.
We do need to have some cross.
However, I think this is just a classic spot where everyone's like, oh, does Clemson stink? No, they don't stink. I don't think they even close to stink. I think NC State may stink. We thought NC State was good based off of a game against South Florida, and then I guess just maybe a little bit of preseason hype. I really wouldn't say it, but they were kind of a common preseason sleeper.
Well, they went 8-4 last year and brought everybody back, but they didn't beat anybody in those 8 games.
Yeah. Now, it is a tough game. It is. NC State does pack their stadium, and they have gone wire to wire with Clemson, but I think this one is one where Clemson, they hear the whispers. They hear people saying, wait a second, are you guys even good? They go in and smack NC State. I'm taking Clemson -9, and Mintzy and I will go up in that one.
Good.
So.
Head-to-head matchup.
Head-to-head. I like it.
All right, Mintz, your 4th pick.
My 4th pick is up, and we are going to take one big underdog here off the board. I'm taking Southern Miss plus 45.5 against Alabama. Because Saban, in these games where they're over a 40-point thing, he's like 0-6 against the spread. And they survived against Florida. They got Ole Miss next week. He doesn't give a crap about covering this game. They'll be up by 28 or 35 at half, and they're going to call the dogs off. Give me the 45.5.
Yeah, I like that, but I can never I can never take that pick. It was in play a couple of weeks ago. Was it Mercer? It was Mercer.
Yeah.
And Alabama wins 48-14 because they don't care.
The stat is 50.
Oh, it's 50.
I think
okay.
the 45 to 50 range is usually where they find a way to cover, but you're not wrong.
It's
they
just the between
really,
Florida and Ole Miss thing is the big thought.
Yeah.
They really did pull off the dogs against Mercer 2 weeks ago.
Not sure Alabama views Ole Miss as a big game, but sure. Let's go with Big F.
I hope they're sleeping on it.
I believe this is the biggest rat line in the entire board this week. The biggest one, without question in my mind. I'm taking Boston College. This line makes absolutely no sense, and it does because Boston College is going to win the game.
Okay.
They're going to win the football game. I think we get a great defensive effort from them. I talked about it, Pick Central. I think too much, obviously Jerkovic is hurt. I think too much in college football. It matters a lot in the pros. Big drop-off from starters and backups. I think in college, it's not nearly as big as kind of like a simpleton bettors try to make it out to be. There's certain situations that it is, no question. But I think a lot of times in college, the backup is literally like a 1A, 1B kind of guy. And I think they do enough to get this done. The line just makes no sense. I think people are going to be sucking Mizzou. The SEC team, it's only 1.5. They can win it with not even a field goal. It's easy. I like Boston College to win the game. I'll take the 1.5.
And Drinkowitz is talking about how it's ridiculous that he has to go all the way to Boston.
Yeah, he's complaining
about
he's
that,
go
which is weird.
And Grissel, the backup quarterback, he's not nearly the thrower Jerkovic is. He's pretty mobile. He's a decent athlete. I think he can do enough to get it done here. I like Boston
And
College.
He was very close to going and transferring to another D1 school and becoming the starter there. So
I'm telling you, the backup quarterback thing in college, people too
What's the other
much.
school?
I don't know, but I read an article about how he had like 3 schools offering him a starting spot. That came from his mouth, though.
Felt like it was UConn.
Oh.
Yeah.
He could come and be the best quarterback. For sure.
He could probably transfer and play any position he wants at UConn.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
UConn plus the points against Wyoming.
I'll close us out. By the way, we didn't do a graphic last week. Let's make sure we do a graphic with these 5
By the way,
picks.
UMass covered last week. Boom. That was
Bam.
a bit. That was
Boom. I just don't know why. I don't know why we have a neutral site game between 2 big-time programs this week. I don't know how people see 6.5-point difference in these two teams. Wisconsin has had one test this year. It was Penn State at home. They failed. They couldn't score. They were driving between the 10s. They couldn't score, though. And Notre Dame had two awful games to start the season. But what's lost in Notre Dame is when you put up their resume and you say they barely beat Florida State, they barely beat Toledo. Well, Purdue ain't bad, and they stifled Purdue. They choked Purdue out. 13 points. It could have been more at the end, but it was 13 points. I think Notre Dame is a lot better football team than getting credit for, especially when compared to Wisconsin. Like, if you want to fade Notre Dame, sure, but don't fade them against a team that also hasn't shown much yet. 6.5, way too many points. This is a fourth-quarter game. Somebody's winning this game by 3, 4, 5 points. I like Notre Dame plus 6.5, neutral site against Wisconsin. That is my card. My card is Kentucky -5. Florida State money line, Notre Dame plus 6.5, UTSA money line, and Nebraska +5 against Michigan State. Jack Mack.
I am going down south. This is a game that used to be much bigger than it is now, and I think this is a massive letdown situation for Florida. It's going to take some balls to take Tennessee because
a lot
of balls, but I think that line is begging you to take Tennessee.
So you're just going to hold your nose and do it.
I'm holding my nose, and I'm saying, you know what? Maybe this – I could see them being down 28 late and then somehow making it a 17, 14-point game late. Or who knows, maybe Florida comes out and just is sleepwalking throughout the entire game. Tennessee may be really bad, but I don't think they're bad enough to lose by 21 to Florida. And this is an important game for them.
Yeah. And –
it's a really important game for Heupel to really show to the program and his players that we have a team. So I'm going to take +19, Tennessee +19 against Florida. And my final card will be Texas A&M -5, Army -8.5, Clemson -9, Michigan -19, Tennessee catching 19 against Florida, rounds it off. And that is my card. I'm 3-2 in Stack and Cash. Let's throw it over to Mintzy.
All right, I got one that I saved this for last because I knew this one was not even being considered by anybody else. All right, the team I'm taking had a survive and advance game and looked very crappy on last Friday night at Illinois, pulling out a 20-17 game. That's the Maryland Terrapins. They're at home laying 14 to Kent State, who did battle with Texas A&M first half and did battle with Iowa first half. However, third tough road game in 4 weeks for a MAC team. Maryland is so explosive in the passing game this year, these MAC DBs are not going to be able to keep up with Jarrett. Maryland had their survival tough game. I was on Illinois last week. This is a week, I think they had an extra day of rest. They're going to come out blasted at home. I like Maryland by 14, and I like Maryland on the alternate line laying 20.5 juiced up. I think they blow them out here. I'm taking Maryland by 14.
I hadn't thought about that pick. I like that pick.
I just like the explosiveness in the passing game. I just don't see how Kent's DBs can keep up.
All right, so you've got Maryland -14.5. You have Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, my card is Mississippi State +2.5, NC State +9.5, SMU +9, Southern Miss +45.5 against Alabama, and Maryland's 14. It's not 14.5.
14, excuse me. Big Ev, round us out.
All right, last pick. This is a pick I'm actually surprised is still on the board. I like Texas Tech +7.5.
Ooh.
I just think this
my whole slate is accounted for.
This is just one of those classic games that I think always gets a little crazy. I think Texas Tech is the better quarterback. Overall, I generally think they have a better offense too. Bijan Robinson's very good. I get it, but I believe in Texas Tech more. I believe in Show. This team has looked really good actually through the first few games of the season. Knocked off Houston in a game that they were a dog and were down early, came back and won. Ended up covering the spread big last week against FIU after they let up some early touchdowns. So this is actually a game I like the look of the over as well. It's like 61, but my pick here is Texas Tech +7.5. I just think this is a crazy game. I trust Tyler Show. I just trust this team. Where I think they're very underrated. I've been high on them coming with the offseason. I took their over. Their over total was 4.5 wins. They're already 3-0. I like Texas Tech to keep within the number. I wouldn't be shocked if they won this game.
So you have Boston College, you have Stanford, you have Texas Tech, and who else do you have?
I have Western Kentucky and I have North Carolina.
So you got a lot of dogs. Carolina's your only favorite.
You have 4 dogs, 1 favorite.
But one of them also was plus
anti last week.
Yeah. All right. Make sure we get a graphic out, and we'll be back next week.
We'll see who's winning after week 4.
Sorry, I thought I was going to finish the show.
It seemed like you wanted to stop.
No, I'm trying to stop. I just you
You took
You've
a
been getting
pause.
bullied all show.
Yeah, no. Maybe if I could just end the show. Oh, you give me permission?
See you next week, guys.
There you go. Ev just alpha